Welcome back to Culture Me If You Can. It's time for our next segment, Out in the Field, where we explore a different profession every week. Today we'll be looking into the field of civil engineering, and hopefully this will give you an idea of what the profession is actually like. Our guests today are Aliur Rahman and Hassan Mohammed. Welcome to the show, and thank you very much for coming on today.
You're welcome.
Before we get into the actual interview, would you like to say a bit about yourselves?
Yeah, sure. I am currently myself self-employed, working in London, providing structural design for private clients in the residential and commercial industry. So I'm currently working, graduated 3-4 years ago, and have been in the industry since.
Yeah, myself, I just got back from a placement year, so I'm actually still a student at University of London, and I'm currently finishing my bachelor's year this year, hoping to graduate in July coming. So I'm on my bachelor's and hopefully to go into master's next year.
I just wanted to ask about the subjects that both of you have studied.
Yeah, I mean, I took the traditional route to university, so I did my A-levels in college, maths, physics, that's usually required for engineering, and then I did graphics as well, a bit of more of an arty kind of course. But yeah, that led me on to getting into Syed University, where I studied civil engineering and into the degree.
Yeah, I took a different route, but same destination. So I took BTech engineering. So although it's still engineering, it's BTech, so it's not as seen as well established as A-levels. But I did take A-level maths because I was good with numbers, and that managed me to get into the university I am now. So although we're in the same destination, there are different routes you can take depending on what you're good at college.
So there are a lot of ways to get into the...
Yeah, there's not one particular route you take. There's different ways.
Good.
Yeah.
That means multiple different people can go for the same course.
Yeah, just have to do research on what that university or what that degree needs, and then you can just mix and match the skills and topics, and then you just decide from there what you want to do.
So where are you guys at now? Are you studying at university or are you working?
Sure. Myself, currently I'm working, running my own company, Aliur Associates in London. So, I mean, I came out from university 3.5 years, almost 4 years ago, and went straight into kind of full-time employment, as does everyone else. You know, that's usually kind of the mindset that we all have. But what I was quite lucky to get a fair bit of experience initially and use that to get the confidence to open up my own company, and since then I have been doing a lot of jobs for private clients. So yeah, just currently working for myself, you know, managing a company, marketing, bringing in new clients. That's kind of what I'm in at the moment.
You mentioned something about experience. Can you go in more depth about what that experience was or what it involved?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the initial experience I got from coming out after university, I mean, when I first got my first job, I did have to travel quite far, close to France, in Jersey, and I mean, I travelled quite far, and I put a lot of effort into that initial bit of job experience I've got, and knowing how important it is to get experience before you go into any career ladder. I took that leap, and yeah, I've learnt masses, and not just technical knowledge, but practical knowledge as well, how the company is run. Because I went to a smaller company, I also learned the overall principles of what forms a company and what makes it run really well.
Yeah, I mean, experience is what makes the difference, really. It's what you get, that you do not get at university. So that's why I decided to take the experience myself. So I went to university, didn't know how to do it, and they took me through this mentoring scheme to find someone to get that experience, and that's how I met Aliur.
Yes.
So he gave me the guidance and all the resources I need to get a job. I mean, it was the same process. I had to go through a lot of hard work, but hard work pays off in the end, and I managed to get a job in the end.
Right. This question is directed towards you, Aliur.
Sure.
So how tough was it to get a job offer after you finished uni?
Yeah, it was quite tough. I luckily had this mindset where I knew I had to start applying quite early, and so I did. So I put time aside. A year before I graduated, I started applying, and throughout exams, throughout revision, I was applying for jobs. But even then, I got declined, kind of ridiculous number of companies I've got declined. And a month after graduation, that was the first job of more than 100 that I actually got accepted into, and that's the company that I accepted and went into. So certainly it's really tough getting your first job, and if you're starting to apply after graduation, which is quite late, you should be expecting a longer waiting period, if you like, because I mean, the earlier start you get to applying for jobs, the earlier you will be able to get into a job. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
So you're saying that applying for a job before you graduate helped you get your current job, which is after you've left uni?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the earlier you apply, the earlier you'll actually get that job. I mean, it's really as straightforward as being prepared. Once you come out of university, you've got to equip yourself as best you can.
Yeah, I can imagine there could be a long waiting time after university.
Exactly,
before you get a job.
exactly. Yeah, that's correct.
And Hassan, what would you say is the most enjoyable aspect of a civil engineering job? Because I know you did a one-year placement.
Yeah.
What was the most enjoyable thing?
Most enjoyable thing I would have to say is learning and applying new things every day. So in uni, of course, like I mentioned earlier, you only learn things in the technical and theoretical side. So when you actually get to the field, you actually understand that, oh, okay, so this is why I used trigonometry, or this is why I use calculus, because everything interlocks with each other. So everything may seem like a big bubble of you don't know what's going on in school, but once you actually get to the field, you're able to apply everything, and they're all intertwined. So once you know one thing, you can apply it to this, and then you can apply it to that, and it goes. It's like a cycle that goes on constantly. So you're constantly learning new things.
Yeah. What would you both say is probably the biggest challenge that you find in civil engineering? Because I know every profession has its own challenges.
Yes. For me, I remember initially the biggest challenge was the whole idea of kind of being client-facing. So while in uni and previous to uni and college and so on and so forth, all we learn is theory and the practical application of that theory, and what we don't quite get exposed to is dealing with clients.
Yeah.
And you know, you come across people from all walks of life, so dealing with that aspect of a company or of a project where, you know, a project is financed by a property owner, that was the initial kind of hardship, if you like, but you know, it takes a bit of experience, and sooner or later you get used to that. But that was certainly kind of something that I learned a lot about during the working period of pro university.
Yeah, like Ali said, it's just something that comes with experience. So it will be a challenge at first. So like in university, you just do a bit of presentations here and there. But when you actually get the job, you have to present your actual work. You have to sell something to the client, and you have to present your work to the director, and so on and so forth. And then it just comes on with experience. So it's not something that's something that you have to worry about. Like, oh my God, is it gonna suffocate me or whatever? But it actually will come with time. So it's not something that's a big issue.
Okay, so if you are nervous about talking to clients, you shouldn't be, because you will eventually get used to it.
Well, yeah, as in at first it is a big challenge because you don't know what you're doing. But then once you've communicated with certain clients, you understand your interpersonal skills come to place. So you understand how to communicate with people.
Okay.
Your language comes in. Like when I first started my experience, my technical terminology was rock bottom. I didn't know how to use certain words. I didn't know what it meant. But then a year later, I started speaking the same level as them. So a year might seem like a long time, but it's really not, because it comes with it. And the thing is, when you start working, they understand you're starting rock bottom.
Yeah.
So they won't be harsh with you.
Yeah, and adding to that, I think you do have to bear in mind when you go into a workplace, there are other individuals, your colleagues, whether they're engineers or secretaries, administration, or senior managers. So you do see them deal with clients. You do see them deal with various other areas of the job. So you kind of learn from them. You learn from your own experience. Yeah. So you're not. Try not to imagine it as you're being potholed into some black hole somewhere in the middle of the universe. It's you're part of a team, and it's a brilliant atmosphere to be part of.
Yeah.
Okay, so what advice would you give to someone who is currently in school who wants to become a civil engineer?
Best advice I can give is think outside the box. So what I mean by that is everyone's in school, everyone wants to go to uni. Some people might not, but you have to think about the challenge. So what can you present to the company, or what can you present to civil engineering, what people don't have? So everyone has a degree, 100 people has a degree. So what can you do to the community to show that, look, although I have a civil engineering degree, I've also done this for the community. I'm involved in a cricket team or a basketball team or football team. So you're showing the employers, you're showing people in the industry that, look, although I've got a degree, I'm also doing something that for the community. Because civil engineering is engineering for civilization. So you have to show that you're part of the civilization by doing charity work or doing some sort of leisure work. So your actions have to show what you're actually trying to represent.
What did you both specifically do to make yourself stand out?
I mean, for me, I agree with everything Hussain's saying.
Yeah.
You've really got to show. Imagine your CV at the end of the day. You want to show something more than just the degree. You really want to show that extracurricular activities that you've taken part in. Me personally, I mean, I just did what I enjoyed. You know, it's really that simple for me.
Yeah.
So I really like kind of working out, going, bouldering, football, you name it, I do it all. And I mean, naturally, when you take part in certain activities, one thing brings you on to another. You meet people. One individual of that group will bring you on to another project, and it's a ladder, you know, the various rungs on the ladder, you just climb it. And yeah, just do what you enjoy.
Yeah, you shouldn't really think it as like a job you have to do. Just think of it like, okay, what do I love to do? Personally, I love helping people. That's just generally how I am. So in university, I met people who had the same mindset. So what they do is every year they climb a mountain in England to help the Children's Hospital in London. So I do that every year, and this year I'll be participating in it again. So something like that is small. It's not really like I searched out, what can I do to make a CV better. All I did was just find something that I love doing. I'll climb the mountain to help people, to help children in need. Put that on my CV. It represents that I've done something for the community. Yeah. It's that simple, really.
So really, just anything that you
Anything,
like, you can pursue that, and you can link it to what.
Yeah, you can link anything to what you want to do. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, remember, at the end of the day, an employer, they want to see that you can work with everyone else in the team.
Would you guys say that do unis and jobs, do they prefer people to have the skill sets which complement which job or what degree they're doing, as opposed to you know, what they're doing outside, like, for example, extracurricular activities, or is it the complete opposite?
Yeah, for me, I mean, as an employer, a balance is definitely quite important. Yeah. But if we really were to give kind of a bias to one or the other, I'd certainly say it's much more important for you to be a friendly person, a sociable person, and someone who knows everything technical, but they're very grumpy, you know. That person won't be able to work in a team or work in a company or take the company to any kind of forefronts. So yeah, certainly try and achieve a balance.
Okay, thank you very much, Ali and Hussain. So basically, be a more broad person rather than just you know, be about that technical side. Okay, I understand. Thank you very much for being on the show. It was lovely having you. So thank you, viewers, for tuning in to Out in the Field. Thank you, Aditya and Hussain. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and thank you for tuning into Culture Me If You Can. I really hope you guys have a deeper understanding of what civil engineering is all about.
If you guys have any questions or inquiries, please contact us on the email displayed on the screen.
Thank you, and see you next time.